Hey everyone, we're live, I think. Looks like it. And I want to welcome you to another episode of Monday Mastery live at 5, where I talk about whatever's happened over the weekend and how it applies to dating and relationships. And today you're going to notice a couple of different things on my screen. I'm using a little different technology today. You'll see the banner up in the upper left-hand corner, Monday Mastery. You see my name down in one corner, and there'll be a couple of things that will pop up. And we're also broadcasting live for the first time on YouTube. So it's a simulcast. And I'm trying out some new software. So if there are glitches, please bear with me. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks trying to get to know this new software and some of the fun stuff it can do. So anyway, I want to welcome you, and today I want to talk about falling in love with a fantasy. And I know I've done it, and I'm sure most of you have done it also. And it takes some serious concentration to recognize that's what's happening. How do you know? Well, one of the ways is you've never met the person. And I've done this and on Match or on various profile or online dating apps, you can find somebody. The pictures are great, the profile is great, the essay is fantastic, and you think, oh my gosh, this is my soulmate. And the next thing you know, you're sending a message and, hey, I think we got some things in common, yada yada yada, and crickets. There's no response. And whether we realize it or not, the other party has to fall in love with us. And that's not always easy to do. That's not, especially if you don't have an extraordinary profile of your own, it's awkward. It feels like you've been rejected. It feels like you've been spurned. Because deep down in your heart that there's this connection. And if they'd only give you a chance, well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Let me switch a couple of things here. Hey, Dorothy, thanks for joining in. Sharon, thank you. Willie, thanks for being here. You're at about, I think the last time we talked, you said it's about midnight your time. Lois, thanks for joining in. Lucy, thanks for joining. I see we've got a couple on looks like we've got a couple from YouTube that aren't here yet, or that haven't said hello. Barbara, thanks for joining. Glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. And so when we look at relationships, when we look at profiles, it's so easy, especially if we're dating from a needy perspective. Somebody, I just have to be in a relationship. I'm so tired of being alone. I don't want to. I don't want to do things alone. When we get in that mindset of needing to be in a relationship, we're dating from a position of weakness. And that's the worst thing that we can do, is date from a position of weakness. Hey, Martha, thanks for joining in. And you always want to be in a position of strength, or dating from a position of strength. So you need to get yourself to a point where it's not that you don't want a relationship, but you're not needy. You're not feeling empty or hollow or without it. What I've come to recognize is that just trying to see some of the comments here. What I've come to what I've come to recognize is that when we get ourselves in a good, healthy position, we don't need to be in a need to have someone in our life to make us whole, so to speak. And the minute we do, that puts us in a position of weakness. And where I see that so often is when we get into relationships and you're just madly in love with the other person, and the other person is kind of, yeah, okay, whatever. And that puts them in the position of power. And hey, Wendy, thanks for joining in. Glad to see you here. And whenever you put somebody else in the position of power, it obviously it takes your strength away. It takes your ability to walk away from toxic relationships away. And that's one of the things that we all need to learn to develop, is that ability to walk away from the wrong relationships and do it quickly. Hey, Jerry, thanks for joining in. And it's so empowering to get to a point where, you know, you can talk to somebody for a couple of weeks and go on a couple of dates and quickly recognize, nah, this just isn't the right one. And then just walk away from it. You know, it doesn't make anybody a bad person. It just means they're not the right ones for you, and or vice versa. Addie, hey, thanks for joining in. Glad to see you're here today. And so consequently, you know, we have to get to a point where we recognize where our weaknesses are, and we have to work through those weaknesses or avoid those weaknesses. There are a couple of school of thoughts in business, is that you need to work on your weaknesses and you know, try to strengthen those areas. And then there's a flip side that says you need to continue focusing on your strengths and not worry about your weaknesses. Let somebody else take care of those. And there's I find truth in both of those, that you know, when we focus on our strengths and recognize what our strengths are, and you know, in the dating world, so few of us recognize what our strengths are. So few of us recognize what we bring to the table. So let's, you know, we need to try to, you know, recognize what we have to offer, what we bring to the table, what we bring to a relationship. And we need to recognize that. And when we're not playing to our strengths, we're obviously playing to our weaknesses. And if our weakness is that we need to be in a relationship, we need to have somebody to fulfill us or to make us happy, that's we're dating from a position of weakness. So it's so critically important to recognize those things, and to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm operating under infatuation, or you know, my infatuation is off the scale with this person. But you have to be able to step back and say, hey, is this the right person for me? Is this the right relationship? And when you learn how to do that, your life becomes so much easier. And it is just it's just eye-opening. It gives you strength that you didn't know you had. And it's really, it really is an awesome place to be, to be in your head, that you're not in a position of need or wanting. Or, I can't say not in a position of wanting. We all want to be in a relationship. That's why you're all here, you know, because you're here to learn, and hopefully, you know, today you're gleaning some things about the weaknesses of succumbing to someone that's not our true mate, or falling in love with a fantasy. how many of you dated somebody and you just worked and worked and worked at the relationship because you saw so much potential in them, and then over time the relationship didn't materialize. It didn't come together because even though you saw potential in the relationship, you saw potential in the other person to be your soulmate, they weren't willing to put in the effort. And we fall in love with those type of people because we see so much potential. And it's potential is great, but unless they're willing to do something to make the relationship work and to live up to their potential, it's just a lost effort, a wasted effort. And all this time that you're spending working on trying to revive or resuscitate or maintain a relationship with someone that is clearly not in the relationship, at least mentally or emotionally, is just such a huge waste of time. And that's one of the things that I'd like you all to recognize and understand, is that there has to come a point in time when we say enough is enough. And so and I'm a firm believer, and I know, ladies, a lot of you will go to the nth degree to try to make this relationship work. Yet deep down inside, it's not right, but you don't want to walk away until you've done everything that you possibly can to make it work. So I'm of the belief that, it's not going to work. Let's just move on. Let's not invest a lot of time and effort in something that, deep down inside, we know is the wrong relationship. In spite of all the potential that you see, in spite of all the affection that you may have for them, if they're not responding and they're not reciprocating, Wendy says, and I'm going to try something here. I'm just going to click on this. Yeah, there it is. Ha! New technology. The more I work on myself, the healthier my choices have become. And that's, Wendy, that's exactly right. And that's what I found for myself, and that's what I find for all of my clients. The more I work on myself and the more I figure out what's right for me and what's wrong for me, which I'm assuming you're finding out the same thing, the easier it gets. A lot of times we make this so much harder than it has to be. And excuse me. We make it so much harder than it has to be, and that's why we struggle. We try to reinvent the wheel with every relationship. We try to force things that aren't meant to be, and we have to come to the reality that if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And it's a matter of recognizing that early on. I mean, if you're not feeling, even in a phone conversation, the first phone conversation or first couple of phone conversations, if you're not feeling it, just say, this isn't, you're a nice person, but I'm not feeling the connection, and move on. Don't try to figure out, well, maybe, if I give it a little more time, or, if you're not feeling it up front, then let's not waste any time on with people that aren't going to be an extraordinary fit for us. And there are some times as we date, it may take a couple of dates before you find that out. And one of the things I contended, if you're paying attention, that you'll recognize these things earlier and earlier. And let's see. Jamie says, hi, Jamie. Thanks for joining in. I knew we weren't turning a corner at about 6 months. Even with great affection, respect, and a long friendship, it just wasn't going to progress, and we both knew it. And that's great to recognize that, even as far in as 6 months. And there are relationships, everything seems really neat and smooth and cool and fine in all respects in the first 30, 60, 90 days. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. But as soon as you recognize it, it's time to walk away and part friends. And one of the things that I always try to instill in my clients and in the people I talk to is that it's okay to walk away. And the sooner you do, the easier it is, because you're not investing as much time and emotion into a relationship. And the more time, the more emotionally you've invested you get, the harder it is to walk away. And it's just, and again, ladies, and this is more common with you than it is with guys, but there are some guys out there that do that. It's all about putting in 150% into the relationship when he's only putting in 50%. It just isn't going to go anywhere. And let's see. Sheila, thanks for joining in. Glad you're here. Wendy says the honest, straightforward approach is so refreshing and mature. Absolutely. It's although only you can be the mature one, and you can't count on the other person to be the mature one. I just had an incident over the weekend where I had one brief phone conversation with someone, and it just wasn't working. I said, I just didn't feel a connection on our phone call, and she agreed, and then made some snarky remark, and I could have responded, and those are the times you just let it go. Just let it go. So you just have to be mature about this. And Wendy, I think if I'm understanding what you're talking about, and I feel the same way, is and as you go, it becomes easier as you recognize your strengths, the things that are important to you. As you recognize your boundaries or adhere to your boundaries, the easier it becomes to make those decisions. And none of us likes to say, "Oh no, it's you're a nice guy or you're a nice gal," but it's just, it's me. No, don't say that. Just be honest and say, yeah, I'm not feeling a connection. And it really is that easy. And Jamie says the next was 12 weeks, much quicker, but we didn't have that comfortable history. And so it was easier. He was not investing at all. And when you recognize that somebody's not investing in the relationship, they're not putting in the time, they're not making an effort to see you, they're not making an effort to make plans, whatever it is, recognize that quickly enough and soon enough. And, don't spend a lot of time. It's life is short. We're only given so much time, on this earth, and it's not meant to be spent with the wrong person. I firmly believe that. And I spent 25 years with my ex. And now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have been gone in the first 30 days. But I ended up spending 25 years with her. Gina says, let me do this. Gina says, I think I'm there. After 8 months of dating, I have tried to take it slower because I feel like things went too fast in the past. I'm sure I will have to do be the one to leave the relationship. Gina, and it's not a problem if you're the one to leave the relationship. You don't have to wait for him. And that's one of the huge things that, and I, as a young man, I was guilty of it too, that you start doing crappy things to the guy or to the gal and start treating them like crap in hopes that they're going to be the ones that break up with you. Be mature, be an adult, be the one to say, yeah, it's just not working. I'm not feeling the connection here. And Wendy says, yes, I'm speaking for myself. I always thought it was best to just be polite. I have learned I can do both. Absolutely. That's, yeah. You don't have to be, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be bitter. You don't have to, you don't have to be nasty about it. Just say, yeah, this just isn't working. I'm okay, and I'm okay with that. We've invested 6 months, we tried, and it's not going anywhere. Or in some cases, it's after a phone call, or it's the proverbial one and done dates that you go out on that first date, you didn't feel a connection, and you can go from there. Jamie says, you can be kind and do it. If they get ugly, which has happened, I don't engage. It just reinforces what I was feeling. That's exactly right. It just, and I think we've all experienced that, where you try to be nice and they come back and they attack you. Oh, you don't know what you're missing. You're foolish. You're stupid for walking away from this relationship or walking away from me. Yeah, no, you're not foolish. What you are is, you're lucky you dodged a bullet. Lynn, thanks for joining in. Let's see. I have a revolving door relationship going on. Started dating in December, and he wanted to date someone else, which didn't work out. Let's see. I've got to get back down here, which didn't work out. So we got back together in the end of February, then broke up at the end of June. And he recently texted me saying he misses me. And I'm certainly the only one he thinks about. Should I go back? I don't know. I do have feelings for him. Lynn, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you want to go back, you're going to break up again. Because because it is exactly what you said. It's a revolving door relationship. The best thing for you to do, in my opinion, is to walk away from that relationship. Don't respond to his texts anymore. Block him on social media. Block him on your phone. And here's what's going to happen. And I understand you have feelings for him, but he's not the right guy. He's walked away from this relationship to at least 2 times that you're saying in what is it, 8 months, 9 months. And that's not a healthy relationship. If it were a healthy relationship, he would have been there the whole time. If it was the right relationship for him, he would have been there the whole time. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make him a bad person. It's just, there's something missing, and there's something there that's not holding the two of you together. Let me. So I hope that I'm just trying to be real definitive here, Lynn. Just cut it off. Don't play the revolving door game. The reason he left the first time is going to be the reason he leaves the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. You can go down that road, but I'm telling you, it's going to get more and more painful until you finally get to a point where the pain of going back into this relationship is greater than the pain of leaving. And it's never fun to leave somebody that you have feelings for. But if it's not a great relationship, if it's not extraordinary, don't keep going back. It, and Jamie says, comments on your on your comment, Lynn, is Lynn, you're not his first choice, and if you're not the first choice, there's no point in staying. Dorothy says, I know I told you more Zeusk for me. I'm assuming there's no more Zeusk. But guess what? I did pay for 1 month, not because I'm desperate to meet anyone, because it's not that at all. First, you can't read. I'm trying to read or leave messages unless you pay. Let's see. This is all about just talking to people. I'm sorry, I keep moving my mouse over it. Talking to people, getting to know people by communicating. And Dorothy, there's nothing wrong with getting to know people. There's nothing wrong with being online and doing online dating. I don't want to say that at all. And if I apologize if that's what you're getting out of my comments. And it's there's a time and a place for online dating, and I think it's a great way to meet people that you wouldn't normally run into in your normal walk through life. I'm not a big fan of Zeusk, but there are far worse sites than Zeusk. So don't be ashamed of being there. And it's not a matter of caving. It's a great way to meet people and having conversations. There are people there are women that I've met on through online dating sites that we quickly recognized that we weren't a good fit, but we've remained good friends for years. And I've been single now for over 10 years. And some of these women will be lifelong friends. They've moved on to other relationships as I have, and moving on to other things. Listen to yourself and not what someone else says. Absolutely. Willie says, I'm going to share this with everyone so everyone can see it. Willie says, listen to yourself and not to what someone else says. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you're not feeling it, if there's something that's giving you a trigger that says, yeah, something's missing, something's not right. Listen to those feelings, listen to that intuition, listen to that gut instinct. It's a huge warning sign for you. It's a huge red flag that's saying, Rick, Willie, Dorothy, Jamie, pay attention. Let's see. Dorothy says, meant I told you no more Zeus for me. Yeah, no, I understand. And and Dorothy, I get tired of the online dating from time to time, and I shut it all down, and then take a break, and there'll come a point in time where I'm back on again. So there's no shame, there's no dishonor, there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry for the typos. You know how autocorrect is. Yeah, I do it all the time. I've got fat thumbs when I try to type. Wendy says, great advice. Let me get down here. Jamie, yeah, and Jamie's right. She had to block her kryptonite. And Lynn, that might be the same. And that's just what I told you. You've got to block. You've got to block him to keep from falling back into that trap, because he's going to come back and he's going to tell you all kinds of sweet things, and he's going to tell you all the right things, all the things you want to hear. And in 2 months or 3 months, he's gone again. And you've not only have you invested or lost another 3 months, you've invested a lot of time and emotional energy in a relationship that's going nowhere. Hey, Denise, thanks for joining in. Glad you're here. Yeah, Addie, I've been in a couple of them, and it is a hard lesson to learn. Wendy says, so true. I was the one doing leaving. He kept pursuing. I kept thinking my feelings would change. They did not. And that's Wendy. That's a great point. If you're the one doing the leaving, the other person can talk to you and want you to come back and try to make it right. And if your gut instinct that it's wrong, stick with that gut instinct. If there are things that you recognize that aren't there, that if they're missing things on your must-have list, or they have any of your deal breakers, it's time to walk away. And I'm going to have to catch some of these a little bit later. I've been trying to read these. And Dorothy, okay, I'll message you. I'll message you later. You can message me and I'll respond. And Jamie says, I've met people organically too. They didn't work out. It just depends. That's right. It doesn't make any difference where you find somebody, or organically, just when you're out socially, there can be some great connections that you can develop. But you have to put yourself out there. You can't sit at home on the couch and say, I'm just waiting for God to send me the right one. You have to put in your effort. You have to, as I've said before, if you're sitting at home waiting for someone to magically show up, it's either going to be the mailman or the UPS man. That's about as simple as it gets. Or maybe the cable guy. I don't know. Please read entire message. Okay, I'll do that. It's so hard, but you will be better for it. Yeah, Jamie, that's right. And so there's, and Lynette, thanks for joining in. Says she's new to online. Let's put this up. New to online dating. And it's nice to know that I'm not in this journey alone. Shared experiences. Thanks, y'all. Well, you're very welcome, Lynette. And, that's one of the things that so many of us, that's a great point, Lynette. Thank you. That's one of the things that I try to share with everybody. You're not the first one going through this. You're not the first one that's had your personal problems. It's only the faces and the names that have been changed to protect the terminally stupid. And excuse me, I'm not talking about any of you because you're here listening and learning. No, it's just so many people, we think we're the only ones. No, we're not. There's been a litany of people that have gone ahead of us, that have gone through all of this a long time ago. So those are the people that we want to try to connect with. Those are the people that we want to have mentor us. We want to go through people that we want to talk to people that's why we want to talk to people that we can learn from. We don't want to, the ones we want to avoid are the ones that haven't gone through what we've gone through. If you're a widow or if you're widowed, the last ones to give you advice are the ones your friends that are still married, that have never gone through this. If you're divorced, the last ones to give you advice are the ones that are still married. And and even avoid some of your divorced friends, because some of their advice is going to be probably not the best. Thomas J, let's see, Lynette, too bad men are not on here. There's generally a couple, Lynette. Exactly. There's a lot of, Lynette, you got it right. There's a lot of smart ladies on here, and they provide me with so many good questions, so much good information, so much good experience. Just from their experiences. So yes, you're very observant. This is a good group. And so, but the whole idea here is to recognize these mistakes. Lynn, thank you for sharing your experience and what you're going through. Wendy, thank you for sharing your experiences. Lynette, thank you. And Jamie, You guys are all great, and you not only is it great information, but you're helping others that are watching or that will be watching later. And so it's heartening to see you guys come in and share and talk and be open enough to say, yeah, this is what I'm going through. These are my problems. And if I can help, great. If somebody else in the group can help, great. Let's all work together to help you all move forward in a positive, healthy direction. Do we have any other questions or comments? And let's see, Dorothy's got. Oh, you just shared with your friend Thomas. Okay, great. I appreciate it. Teamwork. That's right. Getting the word out. So, I appreciate that, Dorothy. It's always great to share, and I appreciate everybody that shares this video with others, and especially for those of you that have liked my page, Rick Sodebeer Coach. And for those of you, and for those of you that I haven't talked to, I think Lynn and Lynette are new here, but there will be others that are new because this is the first time on YouTube Live. For those of you that don't know me, I've got a book out called Dating Backward, and doggone it, I need to have a slide, or I need to have a copy of the book right here. I always think about it after the fact, but I wrote a book a few years ago called Dating Backward, a practical guide to dating and finding your soulmate. And it's great for those of you that struggle with online dating. And Dorothy says she's reading it now. Yeah, I saw your comment this morning from a couple of days ago that it was in your mailbox. I'm glad you're reading it. I hope you're enjoying it. But the whole premise of Dating Backward is that we start dating backward, or 95% of us start dating backward. We start we start dating without knowing exactly what we want in a relationship. We start dating and saying, "Oh yeah, this guy's nice. He seems sweet, and he has a bucket of good stuff over here. Yet there's a pile of crap over here that we have to deal with." And I contend that when you're with the right person, you're not going to have this pile of crap. It's all going to be good stuff. And it doesn't mean every relationship is going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you're never going to have problems. It just means you're with the right person. And when you do run into problems, you're going to be working in the same direction. You're going to be working to resolve it. The right relationship is so extraordinary. It just you connect on such a level. They touch your soul in a way that nobody else ever has. Thank you, Denise. I'm live here every Monday. Every Monday at 5:00 for Monday Mastery, live at 5. So I hope this has been valuable to you all. And I hope you've walked away with some good insights, and a couple of you, I hope you are able to make some decisions as to how to proceed with relationships, your revolving door relationships. And Dorothy said, this is a good one. I want to share this one. And Dorothy says, then you find out he's an alcoholic and has so many issues. No, thank you. Next. Yep, exactly right. That's a great comment. That's a great line, Dorothy. Denise says, I'm in a new relationship after not dating for several years. Congratulations. That's, and date intentionally, Denise. Date with your eyes wide open. It's so easy to, as a dear friend of mine, Tammy says, date with that love glaze. And she uses the motion. You get that love glaze over your face or over your eyes, and you stop recognizing the true characteristics of whoever you're dating. And that's why it's so important to have your must-have and your deal-breaker list, so that you can look at those from time to time. Does he have all of this? Does she have that? Does he have any of my deal breakers? And if they do, then it should be the next word out of your mouth should be Dorothy's word, next, because it's not going to be extraordinary. Yep. And Dorothy says, stay away from toxic people. And sometimes you don't recognize toxic, until you've dated them for a little while. But as soon as you do, boom, you should be done and gone. Denise says, so I just need a little bit of advice. Just need to hear things to look out for. Denise, probably the easiest thing for me to tell you is create your, if you haven't heard this or if you haven't seen any of these Facebook Lives, one of the things that I harp on regularly is that you need to have a must-have and a deal breaker list. And your must-haves are the things that you absolutely want in a relationship, and they're non-negotiable. And when I say non-negotiable, I mean non-negotiable. It doesn't make any difference if you have 5 things on your list, 20 things. I had one woman I worked with that had as many as 60. So it's all a matter of what you want in a relationship, and it must be written in a positive format. You can't say no couch potatoes or no smokers, because the minute you say no smokers, what comes to mind? You get the picture of a smoker, and that's what you start recognizing. That's what you start focusing on, and that's what you start attracting. And I'm not being law of attraction type attracting. It's just science. It's just basic psychology. It's like when you're shopping for a car and you decided that you want a blue Ford Focus, and what do you start seeing on the road? You start seeing blue Ford Focuses everywhere. It's because what your mind starts recognizing. So what you want to do is, rather than saying no smokers, you might say something like must be smoke free. Or if you don't want couch potatoes, rather than saying no couch potatoes, you would say something like must be physically active, so that you start putting the right picture in your mind of what you want. And then your deal breaker list should be very short. And because if your deal breaker list is too long, you need to start looking at those and saying, how can I flip those to be must-haves? So then the deal breaker list, very short. If they have any of the deal breakers, boom, you're on. You're done. You're out. It's for me. I've got 3, and it's cats, tats, and porn. If you're into cats, yeah, I'm out. If you got tattoos, I'm out. If you're into pornography, I'm out. So, it's just that simple. And so, it's whatever your list is, and it's whatever is important to you. So those are the things that you should have written down so that you can refer to them regularly, because you can't keep it up here. When you get into a new relationship, you come under that veil of the love glaze, or as I say, you come under the veil of infatuation and raging hormones, and it just stops you from seeing all the issues, or it causes us to ignore all the issues. And I'm not saying just you, it's all of us. I'm as subject to it as anyone. Let's see. Dorothy says, I'm feeling that right now without dating. You have got to feel good about yourself to be able to date. Absolutely. I feel on top of the world right now without dating. That's perfect, Dorothy. You're nailing it. Now you're in a position that as long as you're comfortable there, feeling good with yourself, keep yourself there, develop that, and then as you start dating, it's going to be much easier for you to discern what's good and what's right for you and what's not. Jamie's listed several things here: joyful disposition, optimist, grateful. Yeah, those are great ones, Jamie. One of the things that I don't want to throw water on that, but there are other more specific things that you might want. It could be a specific could be specific stature, could be specific characteristics like is gainfully employed or is financially stable. It could be, it could, and it just doesn't have to be the things we can't see or touch. He must be physically fit. He must enjoy sports, or he must enjoy, whatever it is. There are a lot of things there that, and for the most part, I might disagree with you. The list shouldn't be fluid. Other than that, it grows. If that's what you mean, that your list is fluid, yeah, I agree that a list should not be static. It should be dynamic. And it will continue to grow, because as you date, you're going to meet people that meet guys, or for the guys that are listening, you're going to meet women that are going to bring characteristics to the table. Said, oh, I never thought about that. That's a good one. I want that. This is not a great relationship, but I want that characteristic in my extraordinary relationship, or in my soulmate. So that list can continue to grow. Now, the only thing the only caveat I'll put on here is that as I've aged, there are a couple of things that are no longer quite as important to me. When I first started dating 10 years ago, the lady I was looking for needed to earn a decent income. Well, I'm at an age right now, and that I can retire out about any time. And not that I'm going to. I intend to do this forever, so you can't get rid of me that quickly. So anyway, but the income component is not as important to me, because at this age, whoever I'm with should be fairly financially independent, and not need to work a whole lot more. There are. Jamie says, there are specifics like to be active, etc. And I have changed as I've gotten older. Exactly. And I think we all do. The person I'm seeing told me he needs to like the person as much as he loves the person. That's a good point. We just enjoy each other's company. And it's not, it's not just physical. There are so many components to a relationship, and we want to feel connected to someone. So, so there's a lot of, you guys have had a lot of great comments today, and I really appreciate that. It's been a great conversation. So Lynn, I hope we've helped. Lynette, I hope we've helped. If you guys have questions, just feel free to reach out to me. Drop me a note in Messenger, or drop me an email. You can email me at rick@ricksodabeer.com for those of you on YouTube, or for those of you that see this on YouTube. And I'm more than happy to answer questions. I'm not going to get into a long coaching session with you, but I can answer some pretty basic questions, and I'm pretty direct. If you ask me and you give me reasonable amount of information, I'll be very direct and say, yeah, this is a go. Yeah, this is a no-go. So feel free to do that. I'm here for you. And if I can help anybody, just let me know. And if you click like and share and subscribe and on YouTube, and that's the best way to see my future videos. And next week I'm going to see how this one comes out this week, and next week we'll add another platform, we're going to rock and roll. So it's been another great week. I hope you've enjoyed the upgrade in the platform software that I'm using, and so it's I don't know. I hopefully a little more professional. So anyway, I thank you all for joining me. Willie, thanks for joining from Holland. That's amazing. I'm blown away by that, and I appreciate it. And Jamie says, you've answered me on, let's see, let me do this. Jamie says, you've answered me on some late night messages in the past. Thank you. You're very welcome. So see, that's a testimony. I'm here for you. If I can be of help to you, even at late hours, I'm usually up till about 11 or so, Central Time, and checking my phone from time to time. It must be, Dorothy says, must be employed. I had a toxic person relocate to my city. He lied about having a job. Yeah, that's a problem, Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. I appreciate it. And I thank you guys. I hope you all have a great and blessed week. It's time to call it a night. And I will see you right here. I'm in Ironwood, Michigan for the next couple of weeks. I think I had some computer issues over the weekend, and I hope I'm not driving back to Kansas City prematurely. But if I do, I'll broadcast from anywhere. So anyway, thank you very much for sticking with me this afternoon. I hope you all have a great and blessed evening, and we'll see you next week right here for Monday Mastery, live at 5, where I talk about whatever's happened over the weekend and how it applies to dating and relationships. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.